A new book's been written to celebrate the magnificent women of the skies who flew Spitfires, Tiger Moths and Lancaster bombers during World War II.
An elite group was selected to fly munitions and equipment to the front line, and they flew day and night through treacherous wartime skies. No radio, just a map, compass, and their eyes to guide them.
Yes, Jo Wheeler is the book's author. Also with us is Candy Adkins, and Candy's mother, Jackie Moggridge, from Taunton, was one of these remarkable women. Thank you very much for coming along. Jo, let me ask you first. It must have been an amazing undertaking to find out about these amazing women.
Yeah, I mean, I knew a bit that women had flown during the war, but I had no idea the extent, the number of planes they flew, the kind of circumstances under which they were flying. So it was incredible to find out about.
But they had to really fight for the chance to do it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Originally it was only men allowed in the ATA. And then one woman, Pauline Gower, who was one of the best pilots in the country, she basically fought for their right and said, no, we've got lots of women pilots, and why shouldn't they be flying too?
And these are the kind of women who probably, in the early part, had some money maybe, so they'd been able to have private flying lessons. And later, did they encourage more women to get into it, or was it always people who had their own kind of backing?
Obviously, the majority or a lot did have to have some kind of financial means to afford lessons, although some were quite plucky and they sort of got extra jobs because they're really passionate about flying. So yeah, there were some who weren't from means.
Yeah.
Well, one of them was
Yes,
Candy, your mother. Tell us about your mother.
She wasn't from means, but she desperately wanted to fly. So she'd come over to England from South Africa to learn at the age of 16 to be a commercial pilot. Before the year was out, war broke out. So she thought, right, I'm going to write to the RAF and say, I want to fly for you. And her mum said, come on, you've got to come home. And she said, no, but of course the RAF said, no, we don't have RAF fighter pilots, they were women. But eventually the ATA was started to take the planes from the factories to the aerodromes, and it was all men. And then they realised they'd run out of men, the ATA, or ancient and tired airmen as it was on. And they thought, well, we'll even have to take women.
But it's that pioneering attitude, isn't it?
Yes.
And that must make you so proud.
Oh yes, they were wonderful women because they loved their job and they took it very seriously. I mean, it was a very serious job, and they were in danger because the planes were stretched straight from the factory. We didn't know if they worked properly. They had no radio contact with the ground at all. They had to fly they weren't meant to fly in bad weather, but England being England, bad weather would set in, and they weren't allowed to fly above the cloud because they had no radio contact.
And even friendly fire at one point, wasn't there as well?
Yeah, occasionally trigger-happy anti-aircraft fire.
and then you deliver it, and you've got to take the train home.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
With lugging your parachute the whole way.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was heavy.
Jo, what do you want people to take away from a book like this?
I think apart from the fact that it's captivating stories and really sort of heroic women, I think for women and girls today who may not think about becoming pilots, because still only about 3% of pilots are women, it inspires you to what can be done. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, we want to get out there to the school children that, to think about taking flying.
Your mum was such a trailblazer. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you both for coming in. I wish we had longer. I always do. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's get the